Hi, everyone.
Hi, Marley.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Well, thanks, and you?
Hi, Marley.
Good, thank you. I'll put on my camera now. I'm just background here.
Okay, just to our speakers in the meantime, are you comfortable if we just go according to the list on the program?
Yep,
Thanks.
good.
Okay. I see Bauer and Sane are not here yet. So Gail, we may need to start with you. Will you be okay with that?
Okay, I'll just need a minute.
No, we won't start. We're still going to do an introduction. Oh, here's Sane. Okay, that's fine. Hi, Sane. How are you?
Hi, everyone. Apologies. Oh, are we doing backgrounds?
Don't worry. I don't have my background. Some do, some don't.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're just waiting for
My
Bauer.
eyes.
Oh, sorry. I thought someone said something. Ruane, we're just waiting for Bo. I don't know if you want to start so long. Can everyone hear Ruane? Is it just me? No one can hear him.
Is your sound, you're not on mute. I think yesterday the sound was off. The sound was off.
Okay, I'm not on mute.
No,
doesn't look
Ruane.
like
Ruane's not on
Ruane.
mute.
It doesn't look
But-
like he's on mute.
Yeah, that's what I said. His sound, he's not
Looks
on
like
mute.
he's frozen.
Sound is off.
Yeah. Okay, it seems like let's give him a minute to hop off and on again. Otherwise, we'll get going. Sine, I see Bro is not here yet. So if he doesn't arrive in the next little while, can I ask you to please kick off?
Sure.
Thanks very much. Thanks. And then we'll just go down the list as I sent out.
Cool. I like your hair like this. Looks good.
Okay, here's Ruane. Hi, Ruane. Are you
Hi,
back
sorry I
with
got
us?
disconnected. Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thanks.
All right. Can I go ahead?
Yes, yeah, we're waiting for you.
Apologies, I got disconnected. So hi everyone, welcome. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How you all doing? I hope you're keeping well and warm.
Wait, we haven't started. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you said you started. So I'm like starting.
We're
Now I
waiting
have to start
to come
again.
back, so everyone is joining in
Okay.
now.
Okay. Is that everyone? Hi everyone, how you all doing? Good afternoon.
Hi,
Good
everyone.
morning. Good evening, wherever you find yourself. So I'm Dr. Ruane Kok, and I'm the president for CEOPSA, and I want to welcome you to this important conversation that we're having today. We've started this transformation journey in many forms over the years, and I think in 2020, we embarked on the transformation, what we call Transformation 1.0 in about 2020. We have had some significant achievements since then. Some of them include having robust conversations, authentic conversations about race. We did that across a number of provinces and online. We've also, out of that, created the BIOP caucus, where we engage with our Black professionals around understanding their experiences and helping them to deal with those challenges. Subsequent to that, Anne has been appointed into the role as the Transformation Chair, and she had done an analysis of the efforts that we've made over the last couple of years. And what you see today in the conversation where we're having is a culmination of the detailed analytical, typical academic analysis of our efforts, and have come up with an amazing way of defining how we need to create a new way of being within CEOPSA. Anne refers to this as Transformation 2.0, and she will share with you more about the context to that and the kind of conversations that we want to have with you. So with that, Anne, I'm going to hand over to you, and we're excited to hear more about what's to come.
Thanks so much, Ruwain. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks to all the speakers and to everybody who's joined us. I'm really excited about the work that we've embarked on, and I'd like to start by just giving a little bit of context to the transformation work, and specifically the whole idea of the One CEOPSA I Belong. As Ruwain said, we've embarked on a transformation strategy, which we call Transformation 2.0. And as the group was talking, and in the work that we've done, we had a focus group, a workshop last year, chatting to people. We sort of identified 3 key areas that we think is crucial to the idea of transformation. The first one is the idea of relevance. And relevance speaks to our profession's significance in the context that we work in, and it aims to ensure our sustainability over time. That is, that we can continue being a relevant group in South Africa over time. The second obviously speaks directly today, and that is the idea of belonging. And belonging refers to the inclusion of all types of diversity in our membership structures, and then also being reflected in our leadership structures, specifically with an eye to ensuring equity to all who are involved, to all the IOPs in our profession. The third pillar that we've sort of built our transformation strategy on is the idea of influence. And influence, we mean the impact that we can have as IOPs on society, both locally and globally. And it focuses on the need for being able to give meaningful contributions over an extended period of time. And those then are the 3 key pillars on which the transformation strategy that we've developed is built. Now, the transformation strategy is in the process of being discussed and sent out to various stakeholders for comments. And once that has been done, we will be able to go public on more details surrounding the strategy. But that brings us to today's session and the idea of belonging. Now, in support of our goal to build a context of belonging, aim of today's session is to explore what it means for CEOPSA members, especially those in leadership, and hence the inclusion of many EXCO members, to belong. Now, while the focus is on leadership, we want to include as many members as possible. And over time, we're going to be calling on as many members who would like to be involved in these kind of discussions. Ideally, at some point, everybody could or should have an opportunity to be part of a discussion like this in terms of the sharing. Some of you are listening today, but hopefully sometime in the future, you'll put your hand up to say, I would like to be part of sharing on what it means to belong. Now, just the structure of today, I've asked each of the people who are speaking, it's Boa Jonker, Sane Ngidi, Gail Rocheman, Sebastian Clifton, Marilee Botha, Nicole Hayes, and Sandri Moralo, each to prepare for me a 5 minutes on what it means to belong. And then once I'd like to ask the speakers to please stick to their 5 minutes so that everybody does have their 5 minutes. And then we're going to open the discussion to the floor, and there everybody can comment either on something the speakers have said, something which perhaps touched your heart, something which sort of ignited an idea, or on your experiences of belonging. So the discussion period is really open, and we love all the people who are here today to get involved in that discussion, and that will be facilitated by Prof. Andrew Johnson. And then Dr. Tandiwe Wegama will just do the closing for us, just highlighting a couple of elements that have come out of the conversation. So with that, I'd just like to ask, is Boa here? He's not appearing on my screen. Boa, are you here? Okay, it seems like for some reason Boa is unable to join us. Sine, can I then ask that you kick off the contributions on what it means to you to belong? Thanks so much. Sorry, I didn't say specifically, but maybe just introduce yourself very briefly, Sine, and each of the other speakers before you speak. And then over to you. Once you're done, I'll just thank you and then announce the next speaker. Thanks very much.
Great. Thanks, Anne. And thanks for the opportunity today. I think this is a really great platform for each of us to share our stories and really connect as a community. As Anne has said, my name is Sane Ngidi. Within SIOPSA, I lead the marketing, comms, and brand portfolio on the Exco, and outside of that, in my career, I lead the HR function for Africa at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and have spent most of my career in generalist HR roles. The journey or the thought around SIOPSA, I guess, is a very personal one for me, as it must be for most of you, because as an IO psychologist coming through academia, one of the things that emerged from the very beginning within my honors and master's year was, here is SIOPSA, you must join SIOPSA. It's where all IO psychologists go, and you must go here. This is what happens. And I think joining SIOPSA started off initially as more of a career joining a platform. I need CPDs, but over time has become a lot more than that, and has become a place where I have gone in my own search for discovery, as well as learning, as well as contribution. So some things that stand out for me specifically around the SIOPSA community. One of the things I deeply enjoyed pre-COVID was our opportunities to network and our face-to-face events. I think even when I moved away from SIOPSA, I always knew there was a community to come back to. And there's something special in that face-to-face interaction. And so that's always stood out for me as somebody who's an HR generalist gets kind of swallowed into the day-to-day HR community, but SIOPSA is where I can come back, recharge, remember my passion for IO psychology, what differentiates us, and think about how I continuously enhance myself. Post-COVID, I had left the corporate world and was in a place where I was a bit lost in terms of my own career and what I wanted to do. Maybe it was pre-COVID, it was 2019, pre-COVID. And one of the things I actually did was look for a SIOPSA event. I looked for a SIOPSA event to find a network of IO psychologists to kind of figure out what are they doing, what's fresh, what's happening. And I joined a branch event on neuroscience, I remember, at Nedbank, hosted by Rob Jardine. I was so inspired in that session. I see laughing, some of you might have been in it. I was so inspired in that session just to be connected back to the community, and it helped me make some decisions which ultimately led me from corporate into consulting. And why that example stands out for me is the sense of belonging I felt in that moment was I was lost, I was confused. I wanted a community of people who might be experiencing what I am. And that's what PsyOpsa meant for me in that particular moment in time. When I think about community, it also comes to mind for me, do I feel like I see people who look like me within that community? Will I be embraced within that community? And in 2020, when I joined the PsyOpsa Exco, part of why I put my hand up to join the Exco is because I looked at the leadership team and I thought perhaps there needed to be some different voices within the leadership team, and I could bring my voice, my expertise, my background to PsyOpsa within itself. And that took also my taking a leap, because I think one of the things Ruane always reminds me of when I raise it, when we say there isn't capacity, is that no one has capacity, right? And if we want there to be change and we want to have impact, we must all take that leap. And I took that leap and joined the PsyOpsa Exco. And I have found within that particular community the opportunity to do things that I'm passionate about, but that also fills me up as I'm doing it. So some of the work around the mentoring, around the internship work, I think that's what continuously draws me back to PsyOpsa and makes me feel as if I can personally contribute. And so if I think about a sense of belonging and I think about this community specifically, for me, it's about where can I go to have a sounding board where needed? Where can I go where there's similar perspectives and experiences, but also where I can bring my difference and individuality to the society? And then I guess another piece for me is creating opportunities to really hone in on myself on a technical level and my technical expertise. I'm always just stretched by opportunities I get to engage with fellow IOPs when we create webinars, when we've done different sessions, and also when I'm in the company of people like those of you around the room today and learn from each of you. And so I think for me, what I see as a sense of creating community is that we have opportunities to network, to engage, to learn, and to share. And I think over time, what I've learned from my experience in PsyOpsa is to be able to bring my authentic self, to be able to speak openly and freely. And I do hope that more people experience PsyOpsa as that platform. So yeah, when I think about belonging, when I think about this community, I think of it as a very personal journey. Thanks, Anne.
Thanks so much, Sine. I loved your idea of the authentic community, but also the importance of having an academic home where you can continually be fed and grow and develop. Thanks very much for your inputs. Gail, over to you.
Great. Thanks very much, Anne. Thanks, Sine, for kicking us off today. Yeah, PsyOpsa grows on you, hey? So I first attended an event, I think 2006, one of the annual conferences, and really got involved from 2011, and that was with the coaching psychology group. So I remember working with Professor Aletta Odendaal and Anna Rosa, like, how many years ago is that? Like a long time. Developing coaching psychology, what it would look like in South Africa, what would it look like if we connected with other affiliates in other countries on the global stage. And I remember Aletta taking us through like how a professional society works, how an interest group works, that you must do minutes and all the governance issues. So it was an amazing learning curve to be able to have lengthy and insightful meetings about how professional society works, how it contributes, but also about driving coaching psychology. We set up the code of conduct, we set up the list of coaching practitioners. So there's a huge amount of things that I was involved with that I otherwise just never would have. And the impact and significance of those, I think, are still developing and will keep developing. So part of it is it's allowed me to, or it's a one avenue, I should say, that keeps my technical edge. So as Sine said, you know, when you develop webinars or set up various presentations, it takes a little bit of research, meet new people, and for me, it's always been kind of the connection, but also how I've continued to learn around coaching and consulting psychology. Oh, so I didn't introduce myself, Anne. So I'm the chairperson for IGCCP, Interest Group for Coaching and Consulting Psychology, and work a lot with coaching teams and systems coaching, consulting, and then also I have education and community development business. And I suppose that's why mentoring was so close to my heart. So again, finding a contact like Thandiwe, I never would have met Thandiwe if it wasn't for SAOPSA. And together we found our way into UJ, arrived on the doorstep, started speaking to students, and developed and established a mentor program, which is now running across 8 universities. So that's really significant, and we'll see the impact of that. And being part of such a group, so working with Marilee, Bo, Sine, Sebastian, I mean, setting up something that really does have an impact, and working with other groups within SAOPSA to do that. I mean, that's been really something significant. So I think part of it is sharing expertise, publishing and presenting, working with other people that I never would have met before, developing the profession in South Africa and globally through our international connections. So I've had the opportunity to speak at some international conferences, which has really been very special. And again, I'm not sure that I would have had that opportunity if it wasn't for the SAOPSA connections. And it's been great to have some international speakers through some of those affiliates speaking for SAOPSA and contributing here as well. Yeah, the peer support and connection and the learning, I think for me has been really significant. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Anne.
Thanks so much, Gail. I love the idea of SAOPSA growing on you. And again, also I think the importance of the exposure. But what I also loved is you highlighting that it also helps you to have it, or provides a means for you to have an impact both locally and internationally. And I think that's a very, very important element. Thanks so much, Gail. I really appreciate your input. Has Boa been able to join us? I know he was having technical issues. I'm not sure if he's in the room yet or...
Yes, I am.
There he is. Boa, welcome. Thank you so much that you could make it. Sorry that you struggled to get in.
I'm so glad that you gave me some opportunity. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful.
And if you're ready, then over to you.
I'm ready. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to speak to you today on this topic. Yeah, sorry for the technical troubles, but at least it's sorted now. So I'll just jump in and say what really makes me feel connected and valued at SAOPSA is the tremendous support that I receive from colleagues, my peers, EXCO, but also all the interest groups and the larger community. The work that we do with the student chapter at Northwest University is really supported all the way through. If I need something, there's always someone that says, I can help you with that. We can do this. Have you thought about that? It's really a community feeling, and that goes a long way. You know, it helps me to generate more ideas, to brainstorm, and to know that there's a kind of a hand that catches me and an ear to listen. So that helps a lot in terms of, you know, taking the ball forward, making opportunities available to students, breaking new ground for them. So that really helped me to, you know, to feel connected and valued. So I think also, you know, Gail spoke about the interest groups, that interest group of coaching and consulting psychology. together with neuroscience and EWOP group or emerging work psychology group, made tremendous strides for our students. They are so motivated after a webinar such as that, where topics have been introduced, where they hear something that we maybe say in class, but just hearing it from a different perspective, from someone who's
Oh, sorry, you went on mute.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Cool. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I didn't touch anything. But anyway, so the interest groups really helped a lot. And then what I think helps in terms of tradition and things that we should keep on doing to feel connected is to carry on with basically what we do. The communication, to my view, is very good. We have basically daily communication that makes me feel connected and that I know what's going on, what's coming up, what workshops I could maybe aim towards joining. So that really helps, but also just to know what's going on in the wider world, that helps. And then what also helped me to the tradition that we have that really helps a lot, I think, is the oath ceremony that we have at conference. To my view, it binds us together. It gives us a shared, renewed commitment towards our profession. And I would really suggest that we keep on doing that, together with all the other things like conference and our workshops and our webinars and our check-ins. And yeah, those are the things in a nutshell that I really appreciate and makes me feel part of CEOPSA and that I belong. All right.
That's super. Thank you so much, Bro. I really appreciate your input. And I think it's interesting you highlighting our traditions and the rituals that are essential part of CEOPSA. And I think what's great about that is in a sense, it is a reinforcement that the basics are in place. And that we mustn't let go of those things in our process to renew and develop, but it's adding on and building on those, on the foundations that we already have in place in moving forward. So thanks for highlighting those. I think what's also important for me in what you said is highlighting what importance CEOPSA has for your important stakeholders. So in your case, and like mine, it's your students. And so there's that spillover effect into other domains of your life. It's not only about you, it's also about the stakeholders that are important to you. So thanks for highlighting that. Next up, we have Sebastian. Sebastian, over to you.
Thanks, Anne. Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name is Sebastian Clifton. I'm currently the chair of the CEOPSA Academy, and beyond CEOPSA, during my day job, I'm a management consultant at TTS Top 10 Solutions, where I look after and head up the research and development team there. All right, so I think to talk about belonging and what belonging means for me with CEOPSA, I think it's quite important for me to go back to the first time I actually interacted and engaged with CEOPSA, and that was similar to Sine. It was really as a student, as a master's student, being exposed to this body, the society for the first time, and figuring out. And where it actually really started having impact on me was I was fortunate enough to be able to attend that conference that year. That was in 2013, attend that conference, and I was also had the chance to present at the conference. So I really got involved, really got into it. And I think some of the things that stood out for me then was, I think, three main themes that keep on resonating with me to this day, and also a big reason why I'm still part of CEOPSA today. And I think the The first one was the welcome I received. So being a completely fresh face, not knowing what this is all about, and entering the space, the conference especially, I really actually received quite a warm welcome. And what I found later on was a lot of the members, a lot of SOPSA members, a lot of the senior EXCO members as well, they really did go out of the way to make you feel welcome. Just out of nowhere, I didn't recognize anyone, not really many people recognize me, but they would go out their way and actually engage with me at the conference, checking my experience, checked how I was coping, and actually shared their experience with me and showed me the way, took me by the hand and showed me the way as well. So that kind of it resided with me quite strongly and still to this day. I think the second one big theme was and it's kind of been touched on really here, is the connectedness. And I think I guess in as well, your day jobs, you kind of, as an industrial scholar, as a professional, you're kind of on your own doing your thing. But when you come together, all of us together as a community, there's a real great opportunity to feel connected, be connected, check in with one another, and the opportunities to actually network, and then you can really experience that oneness or belongingness as a profession, as a field. And then I think the third one, and this one still plays strong with me today, I think we can say the content at the conference that I was exposed to. I think the purpose of the content, everything at that conference was really focused on enhancing us as individuals and us as a profession. But also what was quite nice was the diversity out there. We all these very different branches of the same IOP tree, but we can all come together and actually collaborate and do something quite great, something quite nice. And I think also really the quality at that stage was quite impressive. As some of those presentations, I still remember them to this day. So that was really my first interaction with SOPSA, my first genuine interaction with SOPSA, and it had a long-lasting effect. At that stage, though, I didn't feel like I was well equipped enough to contribute back. I wanted to do more, wanted to give more, but I didn't feel like I was quite ready then. So I carried on my IOP journey, completed my master's, became an industrial psychologist, did further my studies a little bit. And when I had the opportunity, I came back. So I stayed a member of SOPSA, but then when I came back, I really wanted to become a part of one of the interest groups, and I had the opportunity to fit in with the Johannesburg SOPSA group. And at that stage, we were a bit in a development phase, bit of a growing stage, but some of the areas we really want to focus on were things like transformation, ensuring there is diversity within our space. So we had some initiatives around there. We had some initiatives around community service, giving back, doing things like career counseling, things like that. Another one was supporting emerging industrial psychologists, which again later on collaborating with Gal has really become quite a nice project there as well. And then the other one again was the thought leadership aspect, being able to engage, interact with other experts, with leading experts within the field, getting that content, those interviews, those recordings, sharing it with our members, and also developing things like workshops and events, online, in person, to really focus on the development and the enhancement of our profession. And I think that's the one that probably stuck out to me the most, that whole finding content, bringing content, and actually helping with the development of our profession. And over the years, we got quite busy as SOPSA Joburg branch. So what we became the SOPSA Academy, which really that is our focus today. Really is bringing content to our members and beyond to help them with their improvement, enhancement, and their skills and development. I think some of the most memorable moments for me when I think about being part of SOPSA, belonging to SOPSA, have been the opportunities to collaborate, to work with some of the other interest groups, and also to network. So I think some of the most memorable moments was working with Gail and her team, especially at the mentorship initiative, and it's actually grown to something quite substantial. And it was really a pleasure to be part of it and see the impact that we can have on the young and up and coming industrial psychologists. And I also think the ability to network. When you're in SOPSA and you're part of SOPSA, it gives you the platform to engage with other IOPs you might have not been able to engage with before. And some of these IOPs are actually real thought leaders within our field. And you get to rub shoulders with these kind of individuals, and you get to learn from them and engage with them and actually build something, create something with them. And that's basically what we do at the Academy as well. We are trying to build something quite special there as well. And I think what's also quite nice, and I think just to end off, is what makes you feel belong, is that SARPSA allows you to be yourself. And I think I found that especially this past year, working with Lorraine in the academy, is I come from a very particular space or branch of the industrial psychology tree. I'm very quantitative focused, data driven. And Lorraine allowed me to kind of introduce that, be myself, experiment with that in the space and see how I can contribute. But then he also brought me into the other world, the other branches of industrial psychology, and allowed me to learn from their growth and there. And really that combination really does lead to some great outcomes, great results. I think that's a nice little summary for now. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Sebastian. I really loved your focus on the master students, and I think it just highlights just how important it is, even with the upcoming conference, to make sure that we really spend time to reach out to young students. And I think that's a crucial way of coming into the society. And I also think what you said about be yourself, I think in terms of belonging, that's crucial for us in terms of building a society. How do we build a society where very different types of people can be themselves? So thanks very much for your input, Sebastian. Next up, we have Marilee. Marilee, over to you. Thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Anne, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm trying to think, how do I, because my session will be, my section will be very short now if I have to remove some of the things our colleagues already mentioned. So I joined SARPSA as a student. So I'm thinking, when did I join SARPSA? Probably as a second-year student. I can't remember where. It wasn't at the SARPSA conference itself where we started. There was someone of SARPSA that had an exhibitor corner or something in that sort, and they spoke about why it's important for students to join SARPSA. And it was at a very low fee, and you could join all of these events and network and share ideas. And so I joined SARPSA there, but that's not really where I found my real true sense of belonging in SARPSA. There was a conference in 2020 where it's the first time it was an online conference. We used Wova. And so we had those little community chats there in which we engaged and networked. And one of the community chats were about internships and how difficult it was to find an internship, what the problems were, what are the challenges. And we really realized that there's such a huge group of people that, interns, that are experiencing the same challenges, that are experiencing the same issues, uncertainty. And it's not necessarily issues, it's just something that you don't know. And we thought, wow, this is a great idea maybe to start a group. And so you'll notice Nicole Hayes is also on this call, and she was also one of our members that started IGWIP. And IGWIP is the interest group for emerging work psychologists. And I now remember I didn't introduce myself. Hi, I'm Marilee. I'm an industrial psychologist and currently chairing IGWIP, which is the interest group for emerging work psychologists. And then I have the honor of being project manager at the Learning Academy that Sebastian and Ruane started or is evolving and transforming right now. Back to the conference. And so we realized this is a need that emerging IPs have. And then afterwards, we launched a survey in which we found various themes that Nicole, again, nicely identified all of those themes of loneliness, lack of support, uncertainty, all of those challenges that students and emerging psychologists face that we didn't know we're all experiencing, but can actually work together to help each other. And so that's where IGWIP started. And I think it's such a beautiful aspect that SARPSA has, is creating space and creating space for one another to learn and grow and find yourself, find a community that you belong to. And I think it's something that IGWIP, in the beginning of the year, we always set our goals for the year. And one of our goals this year is, what does transformation actually mean to us? And that is accessibility, making sure it's accessible to all, that everyone has access, are included in these events. And so afterwards we said, okay, but how are we going to do this? And that is by means of collaborating with the various interest groups. So IGWIP is on a mission this year to collaborate with as much interest groups to provide as much exposure to emerging IOPs in the different pockets of industrial psychology. And what again was very beautiful is that each interest group was just said yes immediately. They don't know yet, like Dr. Tindi, where they has no idea yet what we're going to do with BIOP, but we have a plan. And she just immediately said yes, she's interested. And so it's beautiful that SAPSA is creating space for the emerging IPs to belong to the different groups, not only within the space where they are right now in their journey, but as we grow into our different interest groups. And so I already asked Gail, when or after I leave, at some point I would need to leave IGWIP, is there space for me at IGCCP? And it was again immediately a yes, there's space for you here with us. Because I immediately thought, oh no, I don't have a community to belong to if I leave here. And I think that speaks volumes as to what SAPSA has provided me in terms of belonging. Okay, that's it from me, Anne.
Thanks very much, Morley. I think once again, and please, if the other speakers have said something, it doesn't mean that it's not true for you. So if you repeat what the other people have said, please don't feel bad. I think we didn't ask for your notes beforehand, so we couldn't check the overlap. I think this is really just about what is important for people. So I'm really glad that you're emphasizing the whole idea of the interest groups. And thanks so much for creating a space for the young and emerging psychologists, both you and Nicole. I think that's such an important group, and highlighted by Sebastian, the importance of being made to feel welcome as a young person in the society. So I think that's a very important part of belonging. Nicole, I think we're over to you then.
Awesome. Thank you, Anne. Can you guys hear me all right?
We can, thanks.
Perfect. All right, so just to introduce myself, I'm Nicole, and within SciOPSA, I'm currently involved with the interest group for emerging work psychologists and also the subcommittee for workplace counseling. And then outside of SciOPSA, I'm the National Player Development Manager, looking after the holistic development of professional rugby players in South Africa. So I do apologize. The background of our boardroom is the World Cup winning photo. And if I move slightly, you might see a player pop up. So I apologize for that. So yeah, the three things that I would like to highlight in terms of my experiences, like belonging and as a part of SciOPSA, is the sense of community, the platform that it provides for implementing meaningful change, and then also having the opportunity to be a part of the advancement of the profession. So I'm going to explain a little bit about these examples in what my personal experience has been in my SciOPSA journey. So my journey with SciOPSA started in 2017 when I was still busy with a bridging course to apply for honors in industrial psychology. And during this time, I offered to volunteer at the then fully in-person conference. And during those few days, I made such wonderful connections that really grew into some of the most valuable peer connections that I still have today. And also one of the sessions during that conference that had such a significant and lasting impact on me was a session run by Stefan Boats and Steve Renikel about building an organizational psychology consultancy. And I've actually still got the hard copy. Oh, sorry, you can't see it, but I still got the hard copy guide that they gave us. And it really is something that I still go to as a source of expertise, but also as inspiration for me to one day run my own consultancy. So by volunteering at that conference, it really sparked a chain of events and the fostering of relationships that helped me throughout my journey to becoming a registered IOP. And this for me really highlights that sense of community that you can experience within SciOPSA. And then in 2020, during the COVID year, it was incredible to witness the sense of community, problem solving, and leadership that took place within SIOPSA, with Dr. Natasha Winkler-Titus being the SIOPSA president at the time, and being able to really just witness her approach to leadership in the VUCA environment, that not just the IOP community was facing, but the entire world, I felt was an immense learning experience for me to observe that and her style of leadership. It was also during that time that myself, like Marilee mentioned, and a few other emerging IOPs were becoming increasingly aware of the challenges that students were facing, particularly in light of the internship aspect of their journey. So we actually put together an open letter and a proposal to SIOPSA, which resulted in the Professional Practice Subcommittee for Emerging IOPs being established. And our aim was really to provide that support to emerging IOPs in their journey to becoming registered professionals. And what was so great is that just short of a year after that, that was in beginning of 2021, so just kind of a 10 months or so after that, the subcommittee evolved into becoming the interest group for emerging work psychologists. And now at that point, emerging IOPs really had more of an official voice within SIOPSA and a seat on EXCO as well. So for me, this was really such a great example of a need being identified and a group of young emerging IOPs speaking up, and leadership within SIOPSA really listening and taking action to implement meaningful change within our community and making the SIOPSA environment even more inclusive than it already was. And then I also feel that being a part of the SIOPSA community, you are provided a platform to contribute to the field, the advancement of the field of industrial psychology, ultimately helping to shape the future of what we're doing. And my involvement in SIOPSA, which started with me being a student volunteer at a conference, and really evolved into an experience where I was fortunate enough to be part of the process of the establishment of an interest group, and chairing that interest group for a period of time, and also serving on EXCO and being involved in other subcommittees. It really helped me grow both personally and professionally. And I truly feel that the skills that I've developed by being part of this community have equipped me well, and the relationships that I've built through the years being involved with this community has really been instrumental in shaping me into the IOP that I am today. So for me personally, the SIOPSA community is really quite like an extended family of IOPs. I find it to be a safe place to go for advice and support, but it's also a place where you're nudged to grow outside of your comfort zone, to develop your competencies, and to really find your own voice as an IOP. So yeah, I'd just like to add that that saying about it really takes a village to raise a child. I think in this case, it truly does take a community to shape an IOP. And for me, that's what the SIOPSA community does. By being that solid foundation and resource of expertise, the SIOPSA community expands the minds and skill sets. I'm going to speak from my experience in terms of the younger generation of IOPs, so that we can really become confident enough to stand on the shoulders of giants. And that, for me, epitomizes why I choose to belong and remain a part of the SIOPSA community. Thanks, Anne.
Thanks so much, Nicole. I love what you ended with. It takes a community to shape an IOP. And I think that probably in some ways gets to the nub of belongingness. It really, really sums it up in a nutshell. I think the other thing that also really jumped out to me in what you said was the responsiveness of leadership when you and Marilee went with this request. And I think that's an important point, that as leaders, we consistently have to bear in mind that we are responsive to the needs of people, because that is what ultimately creates a context where belonging can flourish. Thanks very much, Nicole. Sendri, over to you. Welcome, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you very much for the opportunity and for your welcome. I started being involved with SIOPSA in 2019 we're experiencing high rates of mental health issues at the workplace where I was working. I was leading up the wellness function where I was working at that particular time. I'm Sendri, I'm an industrial psychologist. My career is being within the various HR roles. So at that particular time, I came to SIOPSA needing support on how to manage mental health issues that we experience in our organization. I went to a lot of connect sessions, webinars or workshops, trying to find people that can come in and help us. And then I realized the gap, that there's not a lot of people in that space, which influenced me to take up another project where I was now saying, how can we develop IUPs to close this gap? So this is where if my belonging SIOPSA came through. My research is aimed at developing the skills of IUP, particularly focused with mental health or managing mental health in the workplace. My participants being IUPs themselves. So I've got great support from them. They've been willing to share their knowledge in terms of my research, in terms of my work. I work in the mental health space as well, to guide me, to give advice on how to approach the situation. And again, I got an opportunity in 2022 to be part of the sub committee for workplace counseling, where I'm the lead in the research stream there, which it touches again onto the work that I'm doing in terms of my research of capacitating IUPs. And the willingness, the extra mile that everyone from students to seasoned IUPs that they show in terms of my work. If I need anything, I know that I can connect to someone, and people will just be there to help me, to guide me. So it's very overwhelming. Even the opportunity, after doing your research or even in the subcommittee that you work on, after doing anything, the opportunity to come back and present and share the knowledge that you have obtained with other people, and it's well received, and people, they're even reaching out to you to say, hey, help us with this. The opportunity to give back, because I don't believe in just receiving from other people. What SIOPS has done for me as well is to give me the opportunity to give to other people. And the spirit of giving, or the tradition of giving that is here, where someone can take your call and just sit with you and say, okay, let's have an hour, let's go through this, let's see how we can problem solve for this problem. It's really, really humbling, and it really inspired me to always show up for people, to show up for even the younger people who are starting their career, and even that lack of judgment in the community, to say whatever question you have, someone is always there to sit down with you and say, let's see how we can solve this. It's really built or make me to feel at home and feel appreciated, and have that desire to learn and to share more of what I'm doing. What I like that we're doing is the including different people. When I see people like me talking in SIOPSA or participating in any form, it really makes me feel comfortable to participate and even to be myself. So I like that, and I see that we are continuing doing that. That really creates a beautiful picture for me, and it really inspired me to grow in my profession and to help other people to grow in their profession. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sendri. I really loved, and I think it's something that's been reiterated by a lot of you, but you phrased it particularly well, is how our work brings us together. And I think that is critical, that there is the shared interest that gives us a common focus, that gives us a common purpose. And I think also, Sendri, what you mentioned about SIOPSA giving you a platform from which you were able to expand and develop. And I think that's a theme that's come through with quite a few of the speakers. So thanks very much. Unfortunately, the last speaker that we had for today, Zonke Zungu, had to pull out at the last moment. She was given an assignment at work. So she's going to join the next session, which we're hoping to have on the 4th of July. So it was a bit late notice for me to try and find a replacement. We look forward to hearing from Zonke in the next session. We're now going to open the discussion to the floor. Please, everybody who's joined us, you're welcome to ask questions, highlight comments, bring your own contributions. If the speakers also want to say something more, maybe let's give the people on the floor first option, but if there's nothing more coming from them and you have something you would like to highlight or raise or just add to what you said earlier, we'd love to hear it. And the session is going to be facilitated by Prof. Andrew. So Andrew, over to you.
Thanks very much, Anne, and also colleagues for sharing your own personal stories about belonging, especially in CEOPSA. I particularly like, I think it was Marilee who spoke about just this sense of belonging. And you know, the thing that struck me about it is how you introduce yourself. You know, hello, my name is Andrew and I'm an IOP. You know what it sounded like? It's like belonging to Alcoholics Anonymous. Because when you go to this group, the first thing you would say, hi, my name is Andrew, and I'm an alcoholic. Well, in this instance, I'm an IOP. And like Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, it creates this sense of togetherness. We are in this thing together. And I'm coming here. Just a few thoughts about I'm coming here. I want to engage, but I want to develop. But it's not about just receiving. I need to be able to give in that community. And that giving is in talking and making presentations. It's being part of the different forums, making my contribution there, making myself available. So being part of that community is not just about taking, it is about giving. And that creates this deeper sense of belonging. Maybe just a few other thoughts around it. It's around what Bouwer said, the rituals that we get involved in. Because when I say with others, I commit myself ethically in terms of the oath. I then also say I'm part of this larger thing other than myself of being, committing myself to execute, and to my involvement with that community is one where I will promote the ethics that are important, binding us also as a group. And I'm sure many of you have other thoughts about that. Just one other word is the authentic, because when I step in and I'm being myself and I feel I'm in a safe space to be myself, you are promoting the idea that I want to be here authentically. I want to engage authentically with others in this particular community to grow, develop, and to make it much better than what I founded it in the first place. So colleagues, I invite you to bring your questions here. Maybe you have a specific question to one of the speakers. Maybe it is about sharing your own personal, sense of what belonging is, and especially within this kind of community, and sharing from your own personal experiences. I invite you now to be part of that conversation, and looking forward to hearing your contribution to this very important topic. Is there anybody here, and if you know me in terms of, facilitating these kind of conversations, I have a very bad habit on picking on people to contribute. So let me first of all invite you to contribute and have a thought, a question, a comment on this particular issue, very important one for us in CEOPSA, of belonging. Any takers from the group? Thandi. Thandi, please go for it.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon, everyone. Maybe let me just start by thanking all the speakers. It was beautiful to listen to all the stories. Each story has its own sort of ways and characteristics of what it meant for each one of the speakers to call themselves IOPs and belong to SIOPSA. One thing that I noted, and this is just a comment on my side, Prof, is that almost in all the speakers, the sense of community came through. If I looked, I mean, almost all of them, the word community came through. And most of them sort of looked at that community being a source of support, creating this shared sort of oneness and belonging. So for me, this is already I think a platform good enough for us to take this community, these sort of senses that are sort of positive towards SIOPSA, that we take that to a level where we look at this community that we also love to belong to say, what is the character of the community? What is the face of the community? And to me, then probably that should chant now our sort of engagement going forward in trying to build this one SIOPSA that we all dream of, which speaks at a sort of higher level to transformation, because the bigger umbrella to this is that we are looking at our organization transformational agenda, so to speak. But the basis already, having listened to the speakers, the basis and the foundation to build this beautiful home seems to already be there. We just need to nurture it. And for me, then these sort of engagements should start becoming a norm going forward, should start becoming usual occurrences, so to speak. And let us be so, but it's encouraging to listen, and yeah, let me leave it at that.
Thank you very much, Sis Thandi. As we all know her affectionately, this is Sis Thandi here. Don't take her lightly. She's got a doctorate, but she is our Sis Thandi. That's what she is, and that's her contribution that she brings to us with her wisdom and insights on issues. Just to take one thing from what you say is about, the sense of we are normalizing talking about these issues. If you think about it, we all talk about the need for belonging and so on, but one way of us bringing it into our conscious mind is to talk about it. We label it. We say it is about belonging. So what does this mean? Oh, okay, now we actually have to keep on talking about coming to a kind of common sense in our diversity, coming to some kind of common sense about, oh, this is what belonging could mean for us. It is about community. It is participating in our rituals. It is about enriching each other by not just taking, but also giving back into that space. Otherwise, this thing cannot begin to grow in the sense of deeper belonging. Colleagues, I invite other comments. Thanks very much, Thandi, for that input from you. Other comments, questions, insights, colleagues, around the topic of belonging? Somebody's wanting to say something. I'm not sure. It's just a microphone on. Hello, iPhone. We don't know who iPhone is, but iPhone talk.
My name is Shivani. I'm qualified organizational psychologist as well. I'm so sorry about that setting. I don't know how to fix it, and I'm not technically astute yet on this new phone that I have. But I suppose technical glitches is a present day challenge that we all experience. So I'm going to excuse myself on not having my name corrected on the chat. Yeah, I suppose it was just a contribution from my side. And the reason for join is when I did my honors and I did my master's, I of course had to do a dissertation or research proposal. And a big part of it was on the identity of industrial psychologists and the subjective opinions of the professional space that they're in. So I obviously engaged on the topic then. There was a lot of themes that came out of that thesis and the research reports, both in my honors and in my master's. And it seems to be a thread and a trend that's still presently and in present day very relevant to the field itself as a topic of debate. So just stated more clearly, the topic was, what is the subjective opinions of industrial organizational psychologists on the identity of their profession? And there were sub-themes around visibility, differentiation, and competitive image in the market that were parts and parcels of what came out of the results. And the reason I'm sharing that is because at that junction, at that time, a big theme that came out of my report was around the visibility of industrial organizational psychology as a profession, and how well known is it in the market. Not many people tended to understand what industrial psychologists do. Not many people understood what differentiated the field from other closely related professions like HR and business consulting, as an example. And so the point is that it's obviously still quite topical, and it will be interesting to see if there's any opportunity to be able to enhance on that and to be able to grow on that in the fields that we can contribute, because we do obviously want to be a profession that is well known in the market, is visible in the market, is having impact in the market. And from a belonging point of view, I wondered to what extent many students, interns, people who are doing their masters, their honors, and I know it was a challenge in my day, to get participants and subjects was a challenge. It was really hard to get up to the number that, at least in my peer group, that was needed for a particular study. In my instance, I must put my hand up again and say I never had one issue of being able to get people to participate in my study. I had too many. People wanted to speak about it. People wanted to talk about it. Organizational psychologists were snowball sampling like you can't believe, to be able to engage on the relevance of the field. So the reason I put my hand up also was because I wanted to see whether there was opportunity for me to be able to engage more closely with PsyOpsa. I've actually myself, in fairness, have only really come forward engaging in a lot of the conferences and the workshops and being a part of it in recent times. I could have done it a lot earlier in my career, and I should have. I just probably I think I didn't know any better, to be honest. And yeah, that's my piece, to just put my hand up and ask, what scope is there for us to be able to create broader, wider presence as industrial psychologists on what we do in the market? Because it's a burning question, and I think a lot of us are lost in that way from a belonging point of view.
Thanks very much. Did I get it correct? It's Shivani. I wasn't sure whether I heard that correctly.
Yes, Shivani, yeah.
Shivani. Thanks very much for your contribution. And I'm wondering whether you shouldn't become involved, because there's a lot of things happening in SIOPSA where we are trying to make sure that people are aware of us. Ultimately, hopefully, we will be known within this broader market, which is so important in terms of our own relevance through the work that we do. And people see us in various spaces. Many of our colleagues have been talking on radio shows, writing in different spaces, and so forth. But maybe if you get in there, you will understand maybe there are some things happening. Maybe we are building towards a greater relevance in terms of our society. And certainly recently, I know Sharon spoke on one of these. Sharon is one of our past presidents. She spoke on one of these radio talk shows recently, or it was an interview. I can't remember exactly what. But it is a topic uppermost in our minds, and we want to make ourselves known out there much more. Again, in terms of a sense of belonging, we need to be there to be able to give into that space in order for us to begin to build a greater sense of knownness outside in that broader South African landscape, and certainly international. Gail spoke about how our involvement often not makes us only involved in this kind of local space, but a greater sense of presence elsewhere in the world in various forums. And that's certainly what we are building towards. Colleagues, thanks very much, Shivani, for your input there. Other insights, comments, questions?
I want to add, so you see, Shivani, this is how it starts, hey? Welcome to
Thank you. It's sorry to interject again, but it was a definite theme back then. This was about 10 years ago, and I must actually go and pull out my master's report and the honors one. It is a huge thing. I don't think we even recognize how massive the disconnect is out there when it came to industrial psychology. It was consistent. All my participants, if not, pretty much all my participants were of the opinion either there was a lack of a differentiation, a lack of visibility. Nobody knew why organizational psychologists were different to other competitive fields. And there were other themes as well, but I'd love to get more connected and touch base more closely. Thanks so much for the receptivity.
Thank you for that. Thanks for those insights. Sanay, please join.
I tried to
me.
hold myself back as a speaker, but I saw that Gail went in, so I take it as officially open for speakers to contribute. I think what stood out for me just, Shivani, we're always recruiting. So there's my email address. Come join us in marketing, branding, and comms. We need your voice. But one of the things I do is at the University of Pretoria, lecture on a master's module, and it's very much around that, around the fundamentals of IO psychology and trying to, how are IO psychologists differentiated? What does that mean from the value that we bring that differentiates us? So like that really resonates, especially when students get to the master's year and they're still trying to grapple with what does this look like practically when I hit the ground, and what's the value, the unique contribution that I'm bringing. So that resonated. And then maybe something that Sendri said that really stood out for me was the sense of giving. I think it's a virtuous circle of giving. When you give, you get something back. You know, I've gone and spoken on platforms and gotten opportunities created. In my mentoring, Marilee's one of the people on my mentorship group. I learned so much from her and the work that she's doing. So I think it's like a virtuous circle of when you give, you get something back, you are enriched. And maybe the last point is not to stand on the sidelines. How I joined SIOPSA was I was on the sidelines on LinkedIn commenting about things that I didn't like. And Prof. Marissa Brose was the president at the time, and she pinged me and she said, stop complaining on LinkedIn and come join SIOPSA. And here I am 4 years later. So yeah, if you can't sit on the sidelines, if you want things to change, you've got to put your hand up and be willing to do the work.
Absolutely. Can't agree more, Sanay. It is very much a virtuous cycle of it is receiving. The engagement and the development only happens because we are there, present, in that space of getting from, because we learn so much from all of our colleagues, but we're also giving back into that space and helping with so many things that are needed there. So it is very much a virtuous cycle. Ingra, you are far too quiet. Where's Ingra? We have not heard any wisdom from your side. Is Ingra still here? Ingra seemed to have dropped off, maybe. And I see Elmin. Elmin, you always have such wise things to say. Why are you not in the conversation, Elmin?
Hi, good day, everyone. No, I'm very much part of the conversation. I have made a comment in the chat box, but really just to say, yeah, I said everyone here identified their own need to start to network with other people who are like-minded. So this is a wonderful platform from that perspective. But what I realized working with colleagues as well is not everyone is as outgoing or actually realize that need that they may actually experience. So I invite them. I say, look, come join me tonight or come join me for this session. And I think all of us must try to also reach out and see if we can bring more people on board.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
you.
I think on a very important point you make there, I mean, elsewhere in our clumsy conversations, we say each one brings one. So, in terms of really getting these things to happen, we have to try and go and hold somebody else's hand to bring that person into the space and continue to do so. Thanks, Elmin, for those insights. Any other comments from other colleagues? We have about 10 minutes left, colleagues, for your great insights, and we'll be very sorry if we leave here and we haven't heard it. Marilee, please go for it.
Rolf, I'm volunteering someone on her behalf. I think Raisa might want to contribute here.
Why?
Oh, okay. Please.
I was hoping she doesn't do that. It's lovely. I'm just listening in on the conversation. I'm sorry I joined late. I had another meeting at the time, but I think, being a part of SIOPSA also, so I am a member on IGWIP, currently serving team lead, and currently running the mentoring program with Gail as well. So I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces here today. But I love the words of belonging and community, and, Prof mentioned doing better and having a voice, as well as Sane, she mentioned that. And I think that's, for me as an emerging IOP, it's about making a stand and having these actionable steps in what can we do better and how can we help others. We preach IOP and helping others and giving back to the community. And that's what SIOPSA is doing. So being a part of SIOPSA has been really amazing. The networking, the collaboration, the conversations as well. I think I've learned so much from like-minded IOPs and wanting to learn more as well. So yeah, I just really love working with everybody, working with a lot of people and having those conversations, and really feeling fulfilled as well. I think that's another thing, feeling fulfilled that you're doing something. And, it may be something small, and I had a discussion with Ruane yesterday, and he said something so potent that, you do bits by piece, small pieces, until you can finally eat that full cake. So, and that's what we're doing, these small conversations that we're having, these small actionable things that we're doing, is adding to this bigger picture of belonging, of one SIOPSA, of community. So yeah, it's really nice to meet everybody and to listen to all that you've been saying, and just really amazing to be part of this community of SIOPSA.
Thanks very much, Raisa. And next time, you don't have to be probed, because you will be out there saying what you need to say. Thanks for those useful insights. And that like-mindedness is an important concept. And by the way, like-minded doesn't mean we all think the same thing. It is like-minded because we play in the same space, but we bring such a diversity of ideas into it. And that's how we grow, because we cannot learn in a space of sameness. learning and change only happen in a space of difference. And that's what we're trying to promote here. Gail, please go for it.
Oh, it was a comment. Raisa said she's just finished her internship. So huge congratulations to you, Raisa.
Well done, Raisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Other contributions? Gail, you want to say more?
No, for now, that was it. Thanks.
Okay. All right. One of my former students here, Keziah, what are you saying, Keziah, is a new entrant into this space, becoming an emerging psychologist? Keziah, are you there? Keziah is hiding. Any other contributions, colleagues?
I mean, I can add something. Sorry, I don't think my hand. Can I go ahead? Sorry.
Yeah, of course. Please go.
So the mentor program has got kind of quite big. So we work with honors and master students as well as emerging psychologists doing their internship, and then also those who've completed, so kind of like early careers. In total, we have a mentor group of about 50. So these are kind of IOPs that contribute. So the learning from the mentors, the IOPs as well. Somebody talked about the circle of learning. So we're receiving, but we also learning how to be mentors and learning how to contribute and learning from our students. So it's an amazing program where people that normally wouldn't feel connected perhaps are part of a group of mentors that's really making a significant difference.
Absolutely. Thanks, Gail, for those insights. And maybe when we talk about learning colleagues, we could say that this environment is that we are all just learners at different development stages. That's what it is. It's not to say that those who are already highly qualified and experienced have finished their learning. It's just a different development stage that we're at. And so we continue to learn together in this space. Rua, thanks very much. Come, let's hear.
Thank you. I just want to appreciate you all for organizing this. I think it's very valuable. I definitely found a community when I joined SIOPSA, and it just helps with knowing people to call, when you're going through something and you need advice. You can always call on, people you've met at the conference or, working in a specific interest group in SIOPSA. So thank you very much for doing this. I do hope that we can grow this talk and also get to see the different areas in which industrial psychologists are working in. And, then we can also have lessons learned to say, okay, fine. I work mainly in change management and psycholegal work. And in the change management space, it's usually just management consultants who are working in there. And I think a lot more industrial organizational psychologists should be working in spaces where there's culture change and behavior change, because they understand because we are behavioral specialists. So we have people who are working and ticking the box and not necessarily considering, the things that we need to consider from an ethical perspective and just from, behavior change. So thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to joining each and every session. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Rua, for that appreciation also. And maybe you can share your story next time, and maybe there's somebody that could be invited, to share some of these stories, Rua, especially you've worked in a change environment, so maybe there's lots to tell us about, how did you promote also change in your real workspace, and creating a sense of that belonging for people.
Happy to anytime.
Thanks, Rohan. One last comment from anybody who would like to jump in? One last comment, belonging. What does it mean to you? What makes sense when we talk about belonging? What is a question that is perhaps in your mind around belonging? Thandi, Sis Thandi, please go for it.
You asked for one last comment. I think my very last comment here is, you know, as we are engaging, as we are sort of sharing our own insights, our own experience, be it on a professional side in terms of who we are as IOPs and the impact we are making out there within the workspaces. I think what is also sort of standing out for me at this juncture is that, you know, when you look at us as a community and you look at what we stand for, and you take that within the context of SIOPSA, perhaps then again, in terms of our engagements, we should look at it more at a level of saying, yes,
Hi, babes.
The sense of
listening to
belonging
this,
is there.
workshop.
Sorry?
It's SIOPSA Industrial Psych. Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
One of our colleagues just creating a sense of belonging with somebody else there.
But yeah, I guess so. But what I wanted to sort of challenge the colleagues to say, perhaps then the word belonging, SIOPSA, I belong, maybe we should look at it at a probably higher level, the next level, that is culturally, within SIOPSA. Because when you're speaking about belonging, you're also speaking about, like we said earlier on, about a community. But what is the personality of that community? And I know I'm repeating what I've said earlier on, but what is the way of doing things of that community that makes us a community, that makes us we feel we belong? I do challenge the colleagues that perhaps in future engagements, in future discussions, we try and dissect it at that level and look at ourselves objectively as SIOPSA. Because we've just shared now our subjective personal journeys and experiences of SIOPSA. That is the I belong part. But perhaps let's look at it at another level, at the we belong part. Who are we? And what makes us who we are in the way we do things? What is the cultural ethos that as SIOPSA we are known for? And how we do things, what does it tell the world out there about who we are as a community? It's just
Thanks
a
very
challenge
much,
that's posing out there.
Yeah. No, thanks for that invitation. It's at all levels. It's self, others, and at this kind of organizational level. What does it all mean? We need to unpack it as we go along.
Yeah.
Great strides. Let's give Mthobisi a quick last word, Anne, if you don't mind. Mthobisi.
Yes, good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Mthobisi Ngwenya. I'm also an IOP. Luckily today, at least I'm working from home, so I'm able to join the conversation. Thank you very much for organizing such a powerful conversation. But I think for me, in terms of belonging, I hear the colleagues speaking about their experiences. But I think for me, what is missing is the financial side of it. You know, how do we ensure that each and every IOP belongs? I want to refer to the price of the CPDs, the training. I was looking at the price of the conference and I was thinking to myself, if I'm an emerging IOP and there is this amount that I need to pay, you know, some of us, especially coming from the African community, you find that you just qualified, you're unemployed, but you want to participate in the conference. But you find that there's a limit in terms of your financial stability and all that. So it can actually isolate you, because now each and every time you need to access a particular space, there's an amount which needs to be paid for you to be able to access.
Yeah.
And to be honest, this I know if you want to get training on the CPP, for example, I mean, the cognitive processing profile is very expensive. And it requires somebody at least with a financial stability, a financial muscle and all that. So that kind of belonging as well, I don't know how we can go about it, to ensure that even those, I'm not saying the training or the CPDs should be free, but I think the way at which the cost is just going up and up and up. I think in the next 5 years, just maybe to do some kind of training, you will be paying around 30,000, of which at 30,000, it could be a 1-year certificate, but it's only maybe for a day's training, So I think as a result,
Sorry, you're breaking up there in Tobisi.
You might find that now people become hesitant in participating, because even if you want to participate, but you won't be able to access, only be excluded for those maybe the unemployed ones or the emerging ones. You find that they struggle to participate. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to share with you, colleagues. Thank you very much. I hope I was not offline.
No, you are very much on the point here, because and thanks very much for your contribution. When we talk about belonging, it will also require for us to look at what are the barriers that we experience in terms of people not having that full sense of belonging. And it could be in this physical or material sense of not being able to pay. Hence, the Transformation Committee, we were looking also at the fees that some people could pay. The project that we were busy with, what kind of fees would entrants pay in terms of full professional status and so on in CEOPSA and so on. So we're looking at all of those things, and I think the point, without giving a full answer to it, the point here is that we are looking at all of these different aspects to say, it is about relational issues, but it could also be material issues. It could also be issues of entry. It could be issues of, and it's throughout the cycle of an IOP, because students have difficulties in terms of studies. Interns might have difficulty in getting internships. It's all of these kind of barriers that can create certainly not a sense of belonging. And that is very much what we're about in terms of looking at this issue holistically. So you are very much on the money there. It's not, sorry for the pun, but you were talking about an issue that is important, but to see it in the broader context of saying these are barriers that we need to begin to explore and say, how can we begin to create some solutions to those particular issues with regard to belonging. Colleagues, thank you very much for your inputs this afternoon. I'm going to hand back to Anne to bring closure for us on what was a very successful in terms of also the numbers of people that were here today. Thank you very much for your contribution and your commitment to be here. Anne, back to you.
Thanks so much, Andrew. I just want to echo that. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. It's just really heartening to have such wonderful participation and engagement from everybody. So yes, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. And you will see I was making notes. We will take these to heart, the things you've said, and Tobisi, what you've mentioned about finances. In our transformation strategy, we have what I didn't mention, because I don't want to go into too much detail, is every aspect has a structural element and a relational element. And the structural element obviously addresses the kinds of issues that you raised. So they will have our attention. But thanks once again. And I'm just going to hand over to Dr. Thandiwe Akamama Ntiki to just close up for us. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, without me also just echoing again points that other speakers have made, we would like to thank you. Thank you everyone that made time to come and participate. Thank you to the speakers. And thank you, Anne. Thank you also for pioneering this, because you sort of came with the concept of transformation, I belong. So hopefully this is just the very beginning of a culture of us engaging, a culture of us talking, and a culture, someone actually earlier on said, we take it a bite at a time. But this is a journey that all of us colleagues should be engaged in. And this is a culture that we need to instill now, to say, within SIOPSA, within our transformation journey, we are allowed to be. I mean, when you look at the word belonging, I'm actually thinking the first letters of the word that is asking us to just be who you are. Bring your uniqueness, but bring it onto the table, bring it onto SIOPSA, and be part of this journey that we are embarking on, because I'm sure we would like to see SIOPSA one day having transformed. We would like to see SIOPSA, when we speak about #OneSIOPSA, that honestly, all of us, we can touch ourselves within our hearts and say, I genuinely feel I belong in every aspect, be it in the way we do things as SIOPSA, be it in the way, the image that we are as IOPs out there in industry, and in every sense. So thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Prof, for facilitating. Hopefully in the next sessions, the engagements will continue and this becomes the new norm. Just as a way of, my last comment is, yes, we do this, we do it with love and respect, but also we do it with the firmness that it deserves and the objectivity that it deserves, because as we embark on this journey, we also have to be very objective in terms of self-evaluation of who we are and what is the journey we're embarking on, and what is the ultimate sort of space that we want to see ourselves having reached one day. So yes, thank you, colleagues. Thank you, and I don't want to make it longer.
Thanks so much, Thandi. We would really appreciate you closing off for us. Everybody, if anyone is keen to be involved as a speaker, we will continue with these lunchtime discussions. We've got one scheduled for 2 weeks from now, hopefully, but I would like to continue with them in the second half of the year. So if anyone is keen to be a speaker, if you have not already spoken, I have put my email in the chat. Please just drop me an email. We'd love to have everyone involved. Thanks for attending once again, and enjoy your day further.